This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities, our weekly source for useful information and tips for starting and growing a business. I'm Scott Sander. Every week we have 7 segments that focus on the things you'll need to know to launch or expand your own business plan. We hear from business professionals, community leaders, and our own team of experts. They share their experiences, good and bad, in order to help you build and grow your own company. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and live streaming through wishtv.com. You can also see much of our content and share it anytime at beoshow.com. The site grows every week with new resources and stories. When you're there, sign up for our podcast so you can listen anytime, anywhere, and we encourage you to sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. Let's get to the business of business. Here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. The USDA is helping farmers invest in renewable energy. Courtney Kincaid from the Indiana Society of CPAs returns. A local cleaning service wins a big award, and our industry focus visits a family farm. And of course, we'll wrap things up with a success story. First, we're getting started. Empower Results out of Fountain Square creates programs, partnerships, stewardship opportunities with an eye on social and environmental benefits. The work has earned the company April's Certified Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprise Vendor of the Month.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Jill Hoffmann is the principal owner of Empower Results. The company's work on behalf of the environment caught the eye of the mayor of Indianapolis.
Well, I'm pleased to be at Empower Results, who we're acknowledging and recognizing as our vendor of the month for the month of April. Empower Results was founded by Jill Hoffmann in 2007, and we want to congratulate Jill and the staff of Empower Results for the important work that they do. Any effort that's being made by a local business to better understand our environment, any effort made by a local business to promote better stewardship in the future, that's important work. And Empower Results, I believe, has already been recognized, not just now at the local level, but Empower Results have been acknowledged by the state and region for the work that they do. And I want to use this as an opportunity to acknowledge the importance of having an XBE accreditation. An XBE firm, particularly one that is owned by an environmental scientist, well, it points the way to a local professional landscape that champions diversity, inclusivity, and expertise. So I want to take this opportunity in presenting Empower Results with our Vendor of the Month acknowledgement. I want to encourage all small to local businesses, startups, and the like to register as an XBE owned firm and register with the Office of Minority and Women Business Development, which will allow more businesses to provide opportunities to not only do business in the city, but grow as a business in our city. And it helps create a network of diversity among small business. So, Jill, on behalf of the City of Indianapolis, we hereby recognize Empower Results as our Vendor of the Month for the month of April. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, we started almost 17 years ago, and with the aim of trying to be a bit of a translator, really, to help projects that either cities and towns or engineering firms were doing that had a technical aspect to them that might impact the environment or impact a neighborhood. We kind of help translate the results of those projects to the community and get the community's voice back to the leaders of the projects. So that, I mean, at the end, what we want to do is make sure that we have projects going in our cities that fit the neighborhoods and the community, but also protect the natural environment. I grew up in Wisconsin, jumping around on the lakes and wetlands of the north, so always had a love for water, which has translated into a love for just a job and a career in the environment. But I actually came down here to go to graduate school at IU because they had a program that was designed to be multidisciplinary, right, where you could do a policy degree and a science degree hand in hand, which honestly is what we need to think about. Every environmental cause has a related policy that needs to be implemented. So I got drawn down here to go to IU and started my career with the Department of Natural Resources, and then just have evolved from that point, realizing that really to protect the natural resources, we have to be having community conversations and good development. And so that's kind of when I moved away from that work at the state and moved into consulting. I guess I just want people to know that businesses like ours and municipal leaders can't fix things by themselves. We need an informed public. We need people to care about our natural resources. We need people to show up when public projects are being vetted to the public. Come out, give us your opinion. Our firm is designed to help make sure that opinion gets integrated into the projects. So I guess just participate, keep your environment as clean and as functional as you make it be with your voice and your action. So just, stay involved. That's what I would want people to know.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like to learn more about Empower Results and the work that it does, you can find links at beoshow.com. If you have a question we ought to hear, maybe you want to appear on the show, send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. Still to come, a look at this week in business. First, though, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is putting up $1 billion in grants. See who can apply on the other side of this break. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunities.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for access to capital, finding money. A move toward renewable energy is not always easy or easily affordable. For farms, the USDA is offering big money to solve big problems.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Anthony Kirkland is Business Programs Director for the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development. The agency is helping farmers become more energy self-sufficient.
The acronym is REAP, Rural Energy for America program, and it's a program designed to be able to help producers and small farmers, along with small businesses, to be able to help improve on their energy costs. Plenty of funding that's available for that program. I know they announced roughly $1 billion. Here in the state of Indiana, we did receive an allocation of roughly $4.4 million. And so we've already received several applications for that program, and it's up and running. Basically, any rural small businesses would be eligible for that program. And the key thing is, as long as it's located in rural America. When it comes down to the energy, basically it's going to be renewable energy or energy efficient. Now, when we're talking about renewable energy, one of the examples would be like a solar project here in the state of Indiana, and even including last year, we've done several solar projects in the state of Indiana here. we're able to basically do with energy efficient type programs, working with farmers to do like a grain dryer, or even working with like a Dairy Queen, private owned type business, to be able to put a project there for them to help them to reduce their energy costs. Well, unfortunately, with our program, it is kind of one of the best kept secret, and we certainly like the word to get out about our program. A lot of time they think that there's a lot of paperwork with it, but when you look into it, anybody could pretty much kind of complete one of our applications. Now, there are grant writers that are out there that are able to help with some of the application process too as well. You can apply at any time under this program. There's no set time. Anytime you want to do a project, you can apply. Now, we do have under this new initiative, you can compete quarterly for the funding for the program. I think when you look at it, and we talked about this, that with rural small business, it is the engine that drives our economy. And so with the USDA Rural Development, we are very proactive in trying to help these rural small businesses. And oftentimes, one of the hurdles that they have is being able to have access to capital. And that's kind of where we come in, not only with access to capital, but we also have some program that helps with technical assistance with helping small businesses. And those are the things that are really needed for small businesses. With the USDA Rural Development, we have 7 area offices, and we have folks in those area offices that are actually able to kind of like boots on the ground to be able to go in any area and to help a rural small business. What I see as the future is basically, that is pertaining to rural development, is us being able to continue to do what we do. We've always been a program designed to help provide what we call supervised credit, being able to help rural small businesses, and we're going to continue to do that regardless to what may be going on with the economy. We got folks that are out there that have the expertise in all of the programs that we have. Well, what gets me excited is that the fact that I'm able to help a rural small business. And I'll give you an example of one. I'm from northern Indiana, and there's a company in Whitley County. A guy basically started in his garage. A very successful business now. I have over 300 plus employees there. But I was able to work with him several years ago and to get this project done with some financing. And just to be able to receive the result of that and the benefit of those jobs in that community just plays a huge factor. Okay, so as an industry, as an example, with our funding from last year, Indiana really leaded the nation with the number of projects that we was able to do under the REAP program, and utilizing the loan and the grant funding to be able to help producers and rural small businesses. So even though last year, the USDA Rural Development, we was able to attract a company that was actually located in Mexico, and we was able to attract them to come here to Indiana, just outside of Muncie there in the industrial park, and they make steel fabrication. And that was a very huge project, but the USDA Rural Development was involved with that. It didn't happen overnight. It was a process to that, and we are very pleased with a project like that, bringing jobs back to Indiana. I think the main thing is for the folks to know that with the USDA Rural Development, we help a ton of people over the previous year under our REAP program, but we also have other programs out there. We have a business and industry loan guarantee program. It's a program designed specifically for lenders, where we're able to have lenders to provide a guarantee loan, and we provide the credit to them, okay? And then we also have other grants programs that are out there for cities and towns to be able to help them with a revolving loan program, so that we're really concerned about the community as a holistic approach with all our programs that we have.
Those USDA grants have you asking questions. Look for a link on our website, beoshow.com. We'll get you to the answers. Coming up later, accounting and bookkeeping. After a break, though, a look at this week in business. See you in about 95 seconds.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for a look at this week in business. Indianapolis is certainly known for hosting big events, big sporting events usually, but next year we will be directly in the center of something that's truly galactic.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
April 8th, 2024, Central Indiana will be in the path of totality for a total solar eclipse. It'll be the first time in 819 years for such a sight here, and astronomers say it won't happen again for 129 more years. We talked to those in the know about how the whole area is getting ready already.
We are less than 365 days away from the 2024 total solar eclipse here in Indianapolis. We are one of the epicenters in the country, so we're in the path of totality, the largest city outside of the state of Texas to be in that total darkness come April 8th, 2024. So we're getting excited. We're working with all of our community partners to drum up some excitement and ideas. How can we think big for that event next year? And so we've been working with our counterparts in some of the cities that were in the path in 2017 to see how they did. How many visitors did they get? What was the economic impact like? And so we're still in the early stages on figuring out how many visitors to expect, but we know in Nashville last year, they had more than a $30 million economic boost for that one day alone. And so this event is on par next year with some of our biggest citywide events. Think 2024 NBA All-Star Game. Think about some of those events, the Indy 500. I mean, we're going to be bringing out many people to the largest sporting facility in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for this event, where NASA will be broadcasting live. One of only 3 places in the entire country that NASA will have a live broadcast on April 8th. And so that's going to be the place to be. We're excited. It's going to be an incredible event, and we know there will be visitors from all over the country coming to Indianapolis next year. So we've got just less than a year to continue our plans and make this happen. This is an event for both visitors and locals alike to get involved in. I mean, we won't see another total solar eclipse in Indiana or Indianapolis for at least 120 years. And we haven't had one for the last 800. So none of us will be alive next time they have one of those total solar eclipses. So this is a must-visit event and a must-stay event. If you're a local here in Indianapolis, you're going to want to be a part of it. And so when the Indianapolis Motor Speedway opens up tickets to that event, you got to get those early. We're working with other partners like the Children's Museum and the Indianapolis Museum of Art at Newfields to put on events. And so think through what type of event, what is your must-go spot for that day? Where do you want to be? And you're going to want to book that ticket and get on that site before all the visitors do, because we're anticipating perhaps 1 million visitors throughout the state of Indiana for this event. And so locals are going to want to get on it early if you want to be a part of it, because there'll be an influx of visitors, no doubt. It is an educational opportunity for sure. So how can we get students involved? How can we get the Indiana schools involved in this? How can we get them to come out to the Motor Speedway, come out to the Children's Museum, which has that spaceship Earth science experience as well? So we're going to tie in some of those science aspects from the Children's Museum to this. How do we get some NASA officials involved in this? And I mean, that's a little over my head as well. So we're really excited. I'm excited to learn because I've never experienced a total solar eclipse. So how do we get everybody involved? How do we get these students involved? But then also the older generations might not have experienced this either. So it's an educational opportunity, like you said, for all generations. As the crossroads of America and the #1 convention city in America, we are no stranger to hosting major events, major sporting events. Think Super Bowl, think college football playoff, think next year we have the NBA All-Star Game here. So this city really comes together for these major events, and we're putting this on par with those events. How do we get traffic control prepared for this? How do we make sure we're ready to welcome an influx of this many visitors for one day? That being said, we're also trying to make this a weekend-long event. So we're going to be working, it's a Monday afternoon, but we're going to be working to make there be activations on Saturday, Sunday. How do you extend this experience for the entire weekend? Obviously, everybody's going to be honed in on Monday, April 8th. But April 6th, you might go to the IMAX theater and check out some eclipse-themed movies, or go to the Children's Museum for an eclipse party. So there's going to be a way to kind of spread out those visitors throughout the weekend. But we are working with city and state officials to make sure, like we do for any major sporting event, that we are fully prepared for this influx of visitors and that the community is ready to welcome and work with our local visitors or local residents to pull off an incredible event. Thinking about the opportunity that we have to showcase what Indy has to offer and the fact that we are in this path of totality, the largest city outside of Texas to have this offering. I'm excited personally, and I can't wait to be out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to welcome both visitors from around the country, but national media too. All eyes are going to be on Indy because this is going to be one of the broadcast sites, one of only 3 in the country. So as a media person myself, I love the opportunity to welcome media, many of which will not have ever been to Indy before that, and showcase what we have to offer.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Up later, a local cleaning company cleans up. First, though, Courtney Kincaid talks financials. More business equity and opportunities after we do some business with you. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunities, and it's our time to talk about accounting and bookkeeping. Courtney Kincaid is back to discuss financials.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Courtney Kincaid is CEO and President of the Indiana Society of CPAs.
Something that a lot of small businesses don't necessarily think of when they think of tools for guiding their business is the financial statement. The financial statement oftentimes is looked at as a compliance tool for that annual report on your profit and loss and what's taxable. But really the financial statement and those 3 documents can help you make some insightful business decisions. The income statement is part of the financial statements. A lot of people refer to this as the profit and loss. We also have the balance sheet, and we also have a cash flow report. All of these on their own have useful information, but used together, they really paint a really clear picture of your current financial health and then your long-term financial health, which is often why it's used so commonly by lending institutions or investors. Something you might consider looking at if you're thinking about merging with another small business or working with another small business, is it does paint a nice picture of how sustainable that business is and if there's opportunities for growth. A lot of small business owners, because they don't have an internal controller or they don't have a financial bookkeeper on staff, might only prepare the financial statements annually, when they're thinking about tax purposes. But really, when they're created on a monthly basis or even a quarterly basis, it gives the business owner the opportunity to check in more frequently and make informed decisions about where they might pivot or how they might sustain their business when they're having some lower cash flow times. Another reason why you might want to create a monthly process for creating financial statements is if you needed immediate access to capital, right? So if you needed to produce this document to a financial institution, you would already have a current edition, a copy. Those who do it monthly are able to more readily access capital when they need it, and even to predict when they might need it several months down the road. Good financial statements are created when we use materials that are orderly, are timely, and are consistent. And so you want to track all expenses and keep those expenses in your business account, keep them separate from your personal expenses, and income as well, whether that income is promised to you now as a cash basis transaction, or if you're using accrual-based accounting, you expect to come in receipt of some funds in the future, and you can track that and take a good look at what's going to happen in the future. Which brings up a really great point too, is if you're using cash basis accounting, which is something that is much more familiar to maybe the average person, what you learn in school. I get my money in, I get my money out. But there's also accrual-based accounting, which is actually a little bit better. It's definitely more complicated, so using that CPA is really helpful, but it gives a better picture of the long-term financial health of the organization.
To learn more about the details of accounting and bookkeeping straight from the experts, visit beoshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter. We still update it every Tuesday. Subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. Listen whenever you want, wherever you are. Coming up this hour, our industry focus is on the family farm. Next, though, another lesson in running your business day to day. That's when Business Equity and Opportunities returns. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time this hour to talk about, well, the fun stuff, running your business day to day. The late Jacqueline Troy was the director of the Central Indiana Women's Business Center. In her life, she was a champion for women entrepreneurs and inspired a fund now named in her honor. Today, we meet the latest recipient of that award.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
Well, the Jacqueline Troy Inspired Fund was created to help women entrepreneurs in the Indy region and encourage all women to support women entrepreneurs in their journey. Jacqueline Troy was the Central Indiana Women's Business Center's first director, and Jackie was a passionate advocate for women entrepreneurs. She did a lot of work in the region, and so the Inspired Fund has been named in her honor. The Central Indiana Women's Business Center offers coaching, business training, networking events, mentorship. We have something for all women at all levels of the business stage. The Jacqueline Troy Inspired Fund Award is an annual award that we give out to a small business in the Indy region, making a difference in their community and looking to grow and scale their business. We awarded this award at our 2023 Women in Business Retreat last month. We received a record amount of nominations this year, over 69 nominations from businesses throughout the Indy region, and Virginia's application and nomination stood out to us for her work in the immigrant community, her ability to persevere through some personal challenges, and navigate the relationships in the business world, and then also provide additional opportunities for other female immigrants in her community.
I started my company in January 22, like 1 year ago. I just started with one person and one client, and just hardworking, try to do my best all the time. And now I've seen my company grow like 400% in 1 year. Before I did all my job by myself, now I had 6 persons working for me. My inspiration was my family. My uncle showed me for the beginning how you can to do everything that you want to do and how you need to work when you are immigrant. So he was the first inspiration for me. I try to focus in Hispanic Business Council for help me to know what is the rule for the road and start the best way in my business, because you need to start all the time with the information exactly, correctly, and because you need to do the best all the time. So it's my principal object or reason for do my business. I think I opened the door for another woman, another businesswoman, also Latina woman, that sometimes you think you can do something because you are Latina or you are immigrant. So for me it's really important because I try to show the other women that you can do everything that you want. You need to do a really good investigation that you want to do about your business, about the rule for the business, about accounting, about everything, because you need to know everything that you need to do for develop your business. For now, I want grow out more my business. I wish maybe in 1 year more grow 400% more and help other people to work and to hire more people and help my community.
Small businesses are the backbone of our economy, so oftentimes overlooked by the big corporations. And so I think what makes in the Indy region a vibrant community and a place to live and grow and work and learn is really focusing on those small businesses that make up our neighborhoods and our communities, like Virginia's, that are doing a lot of the legwork in our economy. And so it gets me excited and passionate about sharing resources, making those connections, help facilitating those discussions, so that we all benefit from that in our community.
If you want to learn more about the fund inspired by the life and legacy of Jacqueline Troy, visit BEOshow.com for links. A little bit later, we wrap up the show with a success story. First, though, we'll do the industry focus on a very Indiana business, the family farm. More business equity and opportunities right after this break.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for the industry focus. When the world thinks of Indiana, a few things almost always stand out. Race cars, basketball, and farms. Agriculture is still a leading industry in the state with small business owners, family farmers at the heart.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Don Lamb is director of the Indiana State Department of Agriculture. His family has farmed the same piece of land for generations.
I like to say I'm a farmer first. That's what I do. I still like to call myself a farmer, but I have been appointed as far as the State Department director of the State Department of Agriculture. But it's really great because the things that the State Department of Agriculture touches are all things that I'm passionate about and I love and I know a lot about, as far as just it's the way I've grown up. It's what I've lived. So soil and water conservation is a big part of that. And then you've got FFA as a part of that. So you've got the education of young people coming up in agriculture. And you've got economic development. Without economic development and agriculture being a part of economic development in our state, then we would lose out in that area as well. And then we keep track of legislation that's going through the State House and things that might affect agriculture. And so there's a lot of moving parts to what happens at the Department of Ag. Farming is something, when you think about like our Indiana Grown program is another thing that happens through the State Department of Agriculture, where we help usually smaller farmers, but entrepreneurs build a business. It might be flowers, it might be honey, it might be, whatever they can produce on maybe a small acreage and they want to grow it. And it goes all the way up through a farm like ours. It's a grain farm. And then you get into the ag bioscience industry and groups like Agronovus are working on in that world. And so from very small to very big, companies like Corteva and Elanco here in Indiana that do a lot of the ag bioscience work, and then how that feeds back into what we do on a smaller level and how that goes back and forth. And so it's an exciting time. It's a very exciting time to be a part of agriculture, and there's so much going on that there's a healthy future. There's so many things you can do now that can be economically good, good fits, good strong economic businesses that don't have to be real large. And then there's all the, if you're very scientific, or if you're an engineer, if you're into the biosciences, there's all that as well. So there's just so many opportunities at every different level of agriculture. Are we doing enough? Well, through like FFA, that encourages that a lot. Purdue is an amazing resource to have in our state. We've got the best, as far as I'm concerned, we've got the best agricultural college in the country right here in Indiana. So we're doing a lot, but we can capitalize on that and just keep that momentum going.
The changes that I've seen, GPS and technology has changed so much, because back in the 90s we started soil sampling using GPS. So we know exactly, not only do we know what's in the soil, but we know what's in the soil exactly in a certain spot of a field. So we started applying fertilizer back in the 90s using GPS. So you pull a soil sample, you make a map of what the field needs, where, and then you can load that information into your fertilizer spreader, and as you drive across the field, it automatically puts on what you need, the different nutrients you need for that. And so that's been like the biggest change that I've seen over time, is that technology just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And we're really spoon feeding what we need for a crop instead of applying more than what would ever be necessary in certain areas. For one thing, it's expensive, so it's economical to do it that way. And then the other part of it is it's better for the environment if we don't put things out there that we don't need for that crop. So that's been one of the biggest changes that I've seen, is the technology of fertilizer spreading. And then you get into planters now, and our planters are so technologically advanced. As you go across the field, they're planting different seeding rates based on the soil type that they're in. So there's a map loaded in there of your soil type, and as you go across the field, you might plant 36,000 seeds per acre in this spot and 28,000 seeds per acre in this spot, based on the potential that soil has. You don't need to put more out there than what that soil can produce. And then we're also maybe having two different liquid fertilizer treatments that are going on at the same time. One might be right with the seed to help it start growing, and one might be beside the seed. And when we can variable rate those applications as we go across the field based on what's needed for that crop. So the amount of variables that go into planting now is so big, and that's been a huge change towards efficiency, doing things right for the environment, doing things right for the economy, and that's just going to get better and better. When you talk about keeping young people in the state, in agriculture, we need those people. We need people who, if they're good with computers and they're good with technology and they have a love for agriculture especially, then we need them in our industry, because that's one thing I can tell you, as we get up towards planting time, the most valuable person that we need as a resource from our local equipment dealer is the technology guy. The guy that knows the latest software that needs to be loaded to that particular hardware that's in our tractor to make it talk to this planter or to this fertilizer spreader. All that integration is really, real highly advanced, and we need that help. We don't have enough expertise to know how to do those things. So I'd love to see more young people, that are interested in technology lean towards agriculture, because the future is huge in that.
I think one thing that we can do better in agriculture is to establish ourselves as a real economic force in our state. Everybody knows that farming has always been the foundation of our economy here in Indiana. But as we look to the future and we think about technology, we think about manufacturing, we think about doing these things, agriculture needs to be a part of that discussion at the top levels of our government, of what we're thinking about. We need to establish ourselves that we're a part of the conversation of economic development, really from the federal level, state level on down, because we really are, but we haven't done the best job at telling that story of how the economics of agriculture really do affect our overall economy.
To learn more about today's industry focus, look for links, beoshow.com. Hope you have that bookmarked by now. Coming up next, it is today's success story on business equity and opportunities, so stay with us.
Time to get out of the office. And on the golf course, the Wish TV Great Golf Club is back and even bigger this year.
Go to wishtv.com sports to buy your Wish TV Great Golf Club membership.
It is time on Business Equity and Opportunities to wrap things up with a dose of inspiration, the week's success story.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
Rupal Thanawala is the CEO of Trident Systems, a consulting company with a mission to provide the tools necessary to grow your business.
I come from a family where my dad and everyone in my family were business owners, but very small business owners. My dad had a small grocery store in India. So I've seen growing up as a young girl sitting on a, I can remember those days, sitting on a cash counter, writing, because back in the days we used to write hand invoices, or picking up soap from the back and delivering it to the client at the front counter and all. So I've seen business all my life. However, I also come from a family where women didn't go to college. Every woman was a homemaker. So I grew up with a very strong women around me. They're still like my strength of pillar, my sisters and my mom, but nobody really went to college or worked outside the home. So going to an engineering school was a huge leap for me. So I did not get those role models and the programs that I see nowadays in the schools, and mentorship and inspiring women to go to STEM careers. That was not my case. However, I had some good friends in my high school, and they said, I think you can do it, because I'm going to do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So my tip to women who do not, or young girls who are not surrounded by role models, have good friends. So I think that's the first thing. And I was out of the college with a biomedical engineering degree, and I worked for a couple of years. And I said, but I really want to do my business. So I had a very supportive husband who said, yeah, you should do it. So that was my very first business. I started a biomedical engineering business in India. But when I came here, I realized that on a work visa, I could not do a business. So I had to do a job. So I worked for a few years, and then I started my business, because I could see that there's so much potential. There were not that many women who were doing businesses. So I said, let's do it. Working with my husband has been, of course, an adjustment to start with, but then very early on, we both realized that what are our strengths and weaknesses. And whether it's your husband or even a partner, because we all start small with some business partners often, understand what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. It is very critical. We are not superwomen. I think they only exist in comic books. At the same time, women's journey starts from the professional side at the age of say 25 or 30ish, but that's a biological clock also. Motherhood and other responsibilities come in. So I had to do my work-life balance and realize that what I was good at it and what he was good at it. So we understood that he's an extremely technical person, so we decided that you are going to be more of a CTO, and I had more aspiration for managerial and administrative role. So I went to MBA, middle of this whole last 20 years journey, and I said, I'm going to go to MBA because as an engineer, in our team, when we tech team, two of us, I lacked those skills. I had to be good at finance and managing business, learning sales and marketing and all. So how do you overall run a business? That's what I focus on, and he focuses on solutioning and technology. And I think that is very important for any woman who wants to do a business, to let it go. And especially when we are technologists, we get so passionate about our technology solutions, but it's important to find out where you can spend the most time and energy and get the most outcomes. I really want to, first of all, grow this business because with e-invoicing, we are getting more and more requirements from different countries. So just in next 1 year, we do know that France, Belgium, Japan, Australia, China has also new golden tax requirements. So different governments are announcing new requirements. So I'm in a constant conversation with SAP on how we build more solutions. So we are really on a growth trajectory right now. So that's the first thing. But then I'm also looking at an opportunity to serve on different boards, corporate boards. I'm already on a financial center supervisory committee, and I want to give back as I'm growing my own business and help other businesses. So that's been my passion. And of course, we are hiring.
That's our time for Business Equity and Opportunities for this week. Our thanks to anybody who shared a story with us. If you need more information about anything you saw on today's show, you can find links on our website. It's beoshow.com. You can also find past segments from the show from each of our 7 weekly topics. Please do listen and subscribe to our podcast, Business Equity and Opportunities Podcast, part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. If you have questions or your own success story to share, shoot us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and streaming live on wishtv.com. And we'll be back with more business equity and opportunities next week. For now, I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for watching.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation and InnoPower.